perfect template for that kind of personal reflection. It kind of nudges you to think about, what life was really like back then, the things you used to do, and why those memories still matter to you today. So, what's the magic ingredient here? It's a tiny little word, a conjunction. Check out this phrase. I used to play with my friends when I was in school. See that? That one word, when, is the powerhouse. It connects a general habit to a specific time in your life. That's how you add real depth and turn a simple statement into a vivid memory. So, what about the people we look up to? How do we write about them? Well, the guide shows us a really simple pattern. It doesn't matter if you're describing your best friend, a favorite teacher, or a celebrity idol. The structure is built around a core set of positive words. So you basically have one recipe you can tweak to describe anyone who's important in your life. And just like that, we go from the past right into the future. I know, talking about your ambitions can feel a little big, but this My Dream Job section gives you a roadmap. It gives you sentence starters to help you explain what you want to do, why it matters to you, and even how you're going to make it happen. It helps turn a fuzzy dream into a solid plan. Okay, we've talked about the outside world, and we've talked about your inner world. Now, for the final level up, we're going to use these exact same structural tools to tackle huge abstract ideas. This, my friends, is where your writing gets seriously powerful. It's how you learn to talk about big, complex topics with total confidence. So when you get into topics like what it means to be a good citizen or why charity is important, the language changes, right? It becomes about what we ought to do. And for that, you need special tools, modal verbs. Words like should and must are your go-to for building an argument. They take a simple idea and turn it into a powerful statement about what's right. And believe it or not, this same strategy works for gigantic concepts like globalization. The guide just breaks it down into bite-sized pieces. It gives you a simple sentence to define it, one to talk about the good parts, and another to talk about the challenges. It takes this massive, overwhelming topic and makes it something you can actually write about. So think about how far we've come. We went from describing a simple landmark all the way to tackling globalization. What we've seen is that a few simple, repeatable patterns can help you write about pretty much anything. The trick is just learning to see the pattern and then, making it your own. So let's do a quick recap of this amazing toolkit you now have. You've got the passive voice for describing places, sequencers for telling stories, conjunctions for your memories, and modal verbs for arguing big ideas. Every writing task has its own special tool, and the real secret is just knowing which one to pull out of the box. And this is maybe the most important thing to remember. A lot of people think having a structure like this will crush your creativity, but it's actually the complete opposite. When you're not stressing about how to organize your thoughts, you can pour all your energy into the what, into your actual ideas. This structure isn't a cage, it's a launch pad. So, that blank page, it doesn't have to be so scary anymore. You've got the building blocks, you've got the whole toolkit. Now, the only question left is, what story are you going to tell? Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something called the geometry of writing. It sounds complicated, but trust me, it's actually a super simple concept that can help you lock in some easy points on your next exam. Let's get right into it. So, picture this. You're sitting in a big exam, you get to the written expression part, and that little bit of anxiety kicks in. You've studied all the topics, you know the vocabulary, but what if I told you that you might be losing points before you even write your first real sentence? It happens all the time. Believe it or not, there is one guaranteed point, a full point. That's all about the format. It has nothing to do with your ideas or your grammar. It's just about the shape of your text. And so many people lose this point simply because they get the layout wrong. Well, today we're going to make sure you claim that point every single time. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the golden rule that ties all of this together. Then we'll look at the exact blueprints for things like articles, blogs, and letters. After that, we'll check out a few more specialized formats. And finally, we'll see how to put it all together by pouring your ideas into the perfect container. Okay, let's start with the most important idea you need to get your head around. Seriously, this is the foundation for everything else we're about to cover. The golden rule is simple. Your ideas are totally separate from the container you put them in. Think about it like this. The ingredients for a meal, your thoughts on, say, childhood memories, are one thing. But the dish you serve them in, whether it's a bowl or a plate, is something else entirely. One is the content, the other is the format. You have to treat them as two different things. And this right here is the perfect way to think about it. You're not supposed to invent a new format. Nope. Your job is to recognize which of the 8 specific, unchangeable molds you're being asked to use, and your only task is to respect the shape of that mold. Don't add anything to it, and don't take anything away. Just fill it up correctly. All right, let's see this golden rule in action. We're going to start with our first set of molds, the ones you'd use for a public audience, like different kinds of articles. Okay, check this out. For a press article, the shape is incredibly strict. You've got the headline up top, and right underneath it, no spaces, no exceptions, comes the byline, by student's name. Then, way down at the bottom, the source has to be the name of a newspaper. Respecting this shape means you follow this order exactly. It is absolutely non-negotiable. Now, let's compare that to a blog article. See? The top looks kind of similar with a title, but the real key is at the bottom. Instead of a newspaper source, you have to write posted by student's name and posted on the date. It's a completely different signature for a completely different mold. Respecting the mold means you get these tiny details exactly right. And here's our third type, the web article. Again, the body of the text, intro, body, conclusion is the same. But look at the footer, it changes again. For this one, the source must be a website address. You see? Getting that one little line right is the difference between keeping your point and losing it. Okay, let's switch gears. We're moving away from public articles and into personal communication. And you guessed it, these formats have their own very rigid, very specific rules. An email is probably one of the easiest to spot because of its digital header. You literally have to draw this box at the top and include the words to, from, and subject. This isn't a friendly suggestion. It is the defining geometric feature of the email mold. If that box isn't there, it's not an email, and you lose the point. Respecting this mold means you build the box. Oh, this side-by-side is just perfect for showing the difference. Look on the left. The informal letter, maybe to a friend, just needs a simple city date in the corner and a warm closing like yours. But now look at the right. The formal letter is a totally different animal. It requires your full address, the recipient's full address, a formal opening like Dear Sir or Madam, and a strict closing like Yours faithfully. They are 2 completely different jobs that need 2 completely different tools. All right, let's finish our tour of these geometric molds with just a few more really unique structures. The interview script is pure conversation. Its entire shape is just a back-and-forth dialogue. You have to clearly label who is talking every single time, like journalist followed by the question, and then guest name followed by the answer. Here, the structure really is the story. And finally, the humble essay. You know, this might be the most important one because its rule is all about what isn't there. It's the simplest mold of all. Just a title, and then your paragraphs. That's it. There's no by, no posted on, no dear sir. Respecting this shape means you keep it clean. You don't add any extra parts from the other molds. So now we've seen all these different molds, right? The big question is, how do you use them when you're under pressure in an exam? This is where we connect the content back to the container. Remember all those topics you've been studying? Describing famous landmarks, talking about your life experiences, discussing dream jobs or charity work? Well, the great news is that any of those ideas can be poured into any of the 8 molds we just looked at. The topic you write about and the format you use are completely independent. So here's your 4-step plan for success. It's really this simple. First, read the instructions carefully and identify which of the 8 formats they want. Second, in your mind, picture the exact visual blueprint for that format. Every header, every line. Third, just pour your ideas into that shape. And fourth, boom, you've just collected your guaranteed point for the layout. You know, in the end, this is about so much more than just getting 1 point on an exam. It's about understanding that structure itself is a form of communication. When you use the right format, you're showing that you understand the rules of the game before you've even written a single word. So next time you write, ask yourself, what is the shape of my message really saying?